Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Star Trek Critic, where every episode is graded as if it was a school project, taking 1 point away for each error that appears. If you are wondering, these episodes are being done in broadcast order and not stardate order. Today's episode is Dagger of the Mind. The Enterprise visits a penal colony where the scientist in charge has gone on a mind control power trip. Look at this poor engineer struggling with lifting these heavy containers onto the transporter pad. That's because of the 2 steps. Theoretically, these containers would have been shipped from the cargo bay's transporter, so somebody screwed up somewhere. If you're going to build a billion-dollar spaceship where all cargo is beamed up, the last thing you should do is put in 2 wonderful steps for everybody to trip over. The reason it is done? The lowest bidder that built the transporter figured they could also sell the magic anti-grav units to the government to solve the problem, but they didn't buy them, so all the crew suffers from back pain now. I will have to take a point for poor design, since now the 2 are so winded they forgot to ask the penal colony to lower the shield, and now they look stupid in front of the captain. Look closely, this box is headed to Stockholm, Eurasia. Is that a new country or a Starfleet term for that area? Shout out to Morgan Woodward. All through the show, he portrays a disturbed man by having bugged out eyes. That's got to hurt after a while. Dr. Van Gelder uses the same judo chop as Austin Powers. -1 point for having a stardate overlap with the episode Miri. Oddly, Dr. McCoy doesn't like the new penal colonies, despite how nice Captain Kirk says they are. Although later he does admit that there are no better medical facilities around. Notice that Tantalus Colony says one of their inmates got away. They are actually pretty quick to find him. So, is this a transporter operator who does security part-time? Or is he security who moonlights in the transporter room? Either way, he forgot to contact the planet to drop the force field, and then he got knocked out by Dr. Van Gelder. Either way, he sucks at both jobs. This security guard loses 1 point for keeping his back to the turbolift door, also known as the only way onto the bridge. Spock clearly has Earth people all wrong. He's been getting all his information from liberals on the internet again. He was really just making up an excuse to get under Dr. McCoy's skin. And security gets knocked out for being stupid again. Van Gelder asks for asylum at gunpoint. Spock saves the day with the nerve pinch. Now, although this is just a shot of the Enterprise turning left, the special effects staff got pretty close to simulating a camera mounted on one of the nacelles, which would be considered standard today. This was considerably more difficult before the age of computers. Let's count how much sedative poor Dr. Van Gelder gets. The tally so far is 1 Vulcan nerve pinch and 3 doses of sedative. McCoy wants to examine him, but Kirk says no, he has to go back. Van Gelder gets to call Kirk a smug, button-pushing brass hat. Morgan Woodward's acting excellently portrays a man in serious internal pain. In case you're wondering, these are also the same facial expressions a man will have if he ever experiences giving birth. And here is sedative number 4. Here is where they realize something isn't quite right. Tantalus called the Enterprise saying he was an inmate. Here, Dr. Adams gives a fake story of what happened on the planet. But this is where Dr. McCoy's expertise says that that story isn't quite true. Captain Kirk is a fan of Dr. Adams and his accomplishments in helping the sick minds. But that doesn't break through Dr. McCoy's poker face. This is where McCoy mentions the facility is superior, and his doctor's expertise forces the captain's hand. This is where Kirk says, shit, I have to question someone I've admired all these years thanks to my doctor. I find it odd that Dr. Adams doesn't mind the investigation, considering what he's been up to. McCoy's pleased with himself that he got to stand up to the captain. Kirk is thrilled he has a reason to meet Dr. Adams. He's going to be in for a big surprise. Kirk and Spock lose a point here, since they are in charge of the entire ship and crew, but don't seem to know one of their psychiatrists. This seems to be a recurring problem, since Kirk never seems to know anyone on his crew until they are standing on the transporter pad right next to him. So how long ago was the Christmas party? They should have seen each other a few times since. The ship isn't that big. Kirk probably thinks McCoy is playing a practical joke on him. I do miss matte paintings, but I will have to take a point here. since this is a Delta Vega cracking station from the second pilot. Dr. Noel likes to pose. Female Starfleet uniforms are a little too short. This is how you know it's an elevator. That's what she said. Dr. Adams' robe makes him look like a cult leader. Devil's Island was a penal colony for French political prisoners, not criminals with mental problems. Kirk offers to check his weapon. Dr. Adams refers to Starfleet officers as "you people." He sounds like a liberal. That's a red flag, something is wrong. Lethe has gone from criminal to mindless drone who can't remember her past, since Dr. Adams believes purging your memories is the cure. Isn't this what Sybok did in Star Trek V? But why can't she drink with them? She's a member of the staff now. Dr. Adams' speech is full of cult leader philosophy. We never find out what his real motive is during the show, but this is close enough. This couple looks too happy, like they're on one of those retreats hosted by motivational speakers, or they might just be stoned. They just completed a tour of the facility, but Dr. Adams skipped one important room, calling it a failed experiment, and Dr. Noel backed him up. Isn't she supposed to be conducting an impartial investigation? But Kirk wants to see it, and now the tables are turned against Dr. Noel. Dr. Van Gelder talks about the neural neutralizer. He's still in the process of giving birth, but he can also play a good round of password at the same time. And now he gets hypospray number 5. That's the remedy from someone who claims to be just an old country doctor. I think I will have to take another point here. Dr. Noel continually backs up Dr. Adams. They are supposed to be investigating Van Gelder's accident, but Kirk is too big of a fan of Adams' work, and Noel just agrees with both of them. It would have been better if they sent an unbiased third party to investigate, like Spock and Noel. That would have been a more logical combination, or better yet, Spock and Nurse Chapel. Oh look, she tells Kirk that this isn't a chamber of horrors at all. Kirk says, "Where did the accident take place?" Dr. Adams says, "Right here." There went her credibility. No, Helen Noel, psychiatrist with a background in rehabilitative therapy, it's not a chamber of horrors at all. Quit thinking about that Christmas party. And here is the chamber of horrors in action. I'm still convinced the director told the actor in the chair, just imagine being a man giving birth. Dr. Adams seems strangely unconcerned about Spock's call concerning the room. I would love to have this Trojan helmet on my desk. Van Gelder warns that the two are in danger. Dr. Noel, again, no help at all. Poor Dr. Van Gelder. He is about to get hypospray number 6, but he doesn't need it. Just look at how relaxed he is in these photos. This is the first use of the Vulcan mind meld. That's what she said. Kirk pays Noel a visit that night, and she still backs up Dr. Adams. Kirk wants to go for a ride on the neural neutralizer. Dr. Noel looks like she's planning something. Does it have anything to do with the Christmas party? Spock learns the secret of Dr. Adams. So far, her profession has been to back up everything Dr. Adams says. They play with the machine for 2 seconds. That wasn't so bad. How about if we try something a little bit more daring? Now he is realizing this machine works a lot better than he was led on to believe. Dr. Noel now tries to see how far she can go with the machine. Is she acting like a trained psychiatrist? Is she discovering how Dr. Adams started to abuse the machine himself? Or is she simply an Earthwoman obsessed with making up fantasy stories so she can catch her man? We will never know. The real story is they talked and danced at the Christmas party, so Kirk should have remembered her when she was standing on the transporter. And he still didn't know what her job was, and she is a member of his crew. Helen Noel, move on. You can do better. The secret is out. Dr. Adams is simply a sadist. He seems to have forgotten the Enterprise is still in orbit and can blast through that shield if necessary, but he might have more plans that we never learn about. Kirk is now in love with Helen, and what comes next looks like he's going to jump her, but in reality, he sees the ventilation duct. Kirk sends Helen through the vents to cut the power supply. Unfortunately for Kirk, the only way to distract them is to go back with him to the neural neutralizer. Dr. Adams enjoys this way too much. When Lethe comes in with the news about the woman doctor missing, he sees this as a way to torture Kirk even more. Spock is ready to beam down. Helen is successful at finding the main power switch, but now has to sneak around these two guys, who eventually catch her. Kirk makes his move when Eli and Dr. Adams come in to put him back in the chair. Helen pretends to be a damsel in distress, then kicks the guard into the power supply. I will have to take a point here. Spock should have had security already waiting to go. And why are they always called security people, and not security guards or officers? The power turns back on and Dr. Adams is caught in the neural neutralizer, but there is no one at the control, just like he claimed what happened to Van Gelder. Jim and Helen are reunited. He is still under the machine's influence. Spock is a little surprised. Dr. Adams is found on the floor. He died of loneliness, which was what he had been scaring the inmates with all this time. Lieutenant Uhura has very few lines in this show. Van Gelder is now in charge of Tantalus Colony and the equipment destroyed. We never learn how Kirk's love for Helen really wears off, or any secret motives or backstory about Dr. Adams. But Kirk definitely knows that it is possible to die of loneliness in that chair. The Enterprise leaves the Tantalus Colony in good hands, and Dagger of the Mind flies away with an excellent score of 93%. Morgan Woodward had an incredibly long acting career. We will see him again in the Omega Glory. He lived to the age of 93 and died only a month before the making of this video. James Gregory lived to be 90. Not only was he a World War II veteran in the Pacific, he played Ursus in Beneath the Planet of the Apes. Mariana Hill is a talented actress and model from Santa Barbara and is skilled at doing various dialects and accents. So, what is your take on the show? Leave your comments below. Specifically, what do you think Dr. Adams' motives were? Would it have been better if Spock and Nurse Chapel beamed down to investigate instead? And how would this scene play out if they did? Click like if you enjoyed the video, share with someone you might enjoy it, check out my other videos and playlists, and click that subscribe button. I will see you again real soon.